You're now listening to the 11:30 podcast. Enjoy the show.
Nasty, hateful, insane nation that's ever existed.
Yo, what it do, everybody? It's your man Dre, aka Dre on Wheels. Y'all already know what it is, man. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the 11:30 podcast. What's good, everybody doing out there, man? Appreciate everyone joining me back here for another episode of the podcast show, man. You know what time it is. It's not 7:30, it's 11:30. Thank everyone for tuning in, watching on YouTube. Definitely appreciate it. I appreciate it so much. But definitely do me a favor and hit that subscribe button down below. Yes, like it, leave a comment, share it, do all that great stuff. And don't forget to follow the 11:30 podcast on all social media platforms. But you guys, man, it's going to be an awesome show this week. It's Black History Month, man. And on this episode, you guys, particularly, I'm going to be chatting with Kamerie Gibson. I'm pronouncing her name right. Kamerie Gibson. She's an entrepreneur. She's a Gen Z leader. She's a producer. She has some impactful content out there that's pushing the narrative. Definitely in the Black community that's not really shown on in media or in news in general, man. So Kamerie is going to be an awesome guest coming through here on the 11:30 podcast. She has some awesome projects we're going to get into. But you guys, man, like I said, it's coming up in just a bit. But before we do that, man, I thought I'd just start the show off this week with story time, man. I haven't did a story time episode in a while, man, and man, story time with Dre. All right, you guys, man, I'm ready, man. Like I've been saying over a couple of episodes, as my little man is getting bigger and bigger and he's getting older, man. He's 6 months and I'm loving every bit of it right now. And I think the biggest thing that I think I'm loving right now, which my fiance is definitely gonna hate, is the fact that he's saying dad. That's like his favorite word. I've been chatting with different people, and even when we was at the doctor's office and we was chatting with the doctor, and we was telling him one of his favorite words, and she was just saying, yeah, he likes saying dad. you know I'm like, damn, you had your feelings on. But the joyfulness coming with it, man. And he holding his own bottle. You can't keep the little man still when you're trying to change his pamper, man. Like, oh my goodness, man, everything he's trying to put in his mouth. And obviously, like I said, he's 6 months, he's teething right now. And like for real, we talking and can't really wait for the weather to break to actually take him out and go other places, because you can see when we do take him to the doctors, and now that he's 6 months and he's so alert and just got so much energy and movement going on. He been communicating with people. He be like, hi, he be saying little baby language and stuff. But it was awesome. And I talked about taking him to the doctors. We took him to the doctors uh Monday. We took them to the doctors Monday, and we took them to Children's Hospital. And I had a conversation with my mom, and I kid you not, you guys, like, it reminded me when I was a little kid. It reminded me just of my mom. It reminded me of all those times getting up in the morning and going to the doctors, man. It's just because I haven't been to Children's Hospital here, here in DC where I'm from, man, since I was little, man. And if somebody whispered in my ear and said, yo, this is the last time you're going to be at Children's Hospital, and this is the last time you're going to be here, but you're gonna be coming back 20 something years later, but with your own son, it would have blew my mind. And I mean, it would have blew my mind, man. Just all the memories of, my mom taking me back to the doctor, back and forth to the doctors at Children's Hospital, and for me and Babe to take Amir to the doctors on Monday, and literally it was the exact same place that I would go when I was a kid, man. It's just, it's like you're living vicariously through your son in a way, and like I said, man, I'm just amazed at how fast the little man is growing. uh, I mean, I'm loving it, man. I can't even tell you. um I got like I'm a little lost for words. I think when I do talk about my little man, because I'm just so excited, and then I also get nervous because, when I always do these podcasts, man, I always forget something after it. So I always kind of like have my notes on the side. But boy, man, if I don't really have my notes on the side or something, I'm gonna forget it or so. But um and I mentioned earlier in the show how I've been Black History Month, man, and just knowing one day down the line, I can sit with my son and watch this on YouTube and let him know, man. Look, I was talking about you when you was little, man, and knowing that you gonna grow up to be a superstar. That's why I call him, man. It don't necessarily mean he's gonna play sports or anything like that or a wrestler. It just mean that's what I call him. He's my little superstar, man. I never thought that I would become a dad or be a dad, and just having all these moments and memories and creating these moments and memories with my little man. Yeah, he'll be 1 years old in July, man, and just balancing podcasting and being a producer, editing, all this stuff, and just being also being a dad, and not only that, because I got my other show Beyond 11:30 where I talk about relationships and stuff, and it's so much, so um me myself, um I always wonder, like, am I doing not necessarily the right thing, because I know I am. I'm being here for my son, my family, taking care of the house. I just want to know if I'm doing enough, because like I said, I know what I'm doing with podcasts, and I see that, and I chat with the guys and everyone else from across the world, and I appreciate everyone's support, and I just want to do enough, not just in podcasting, not only just a dad, but in my relationship as well, because we just celebrated 10 years being together, man. We knew each other since we were what since I was 8, she was 9. So it's right now, in this moment right now, is just trying to just digest everything, yeah, not necessarily take any not not take anything for granted. Let me get it right. Not take anything for granted, and just enjoy life, man, and definitely enjoy life. And speaking of life, man, last year, I talked about this on the podcast last year and numerous of times. A life was lost last year. My brother Isaac, man, rest in peace. I miss you. And yo, he was the main reason of me getting in this podcast, and at least um giving me that that drive, that pushing me and telling me, man, you know what it is that you want to do, man. Don't say, nah, you don't know. I know I know you. Even though we all changed in some things, but it was like, man, Zoe just knew what was up, man. He went by Zoe. He went by Zoe. I don't want nobody thinking I'm talking about two different people, but yeah, man, like, and just having conversation with my sister, who was actually texting messenger and just going back and forth, because she posted something, and I was just letting her know, like, man, you ain't the only one. And he came to me in my dreams, and and just was just like, man, he was sad that that it ended that way and stuff, but obviously, he was happy the way he was at, and it was so like weird that it was just me, my little brother, and him, and I thought that said a lot. And in the dream, it felt so like we were young. It felt like we were, at the old place back when my mom used to live at. It was a part in the song, the theme song of the podcast, where he used to say, We sitting on the floor, and I forgot what it was called, man. You know, uh, you wasn't with us when we were sitting on the floor, whatever, like that, just chilling or whatever, though. But it seemed though it was like that, and also, um, even at that time, even in that time too, when he would come over and stuff, I would be like, man, you ain't gotta leave, man. You can stay. And I sort of did that in the dream, but I pulled myself back because in this dream it was just like, damn, dog, this don't feel real, because it's like I know you're not here, but you here. But it's like I'm chatting with you, but it was, I don't know how to explain it, man. But what I'm trying to say, I didn't ask him to stay because I knew he couldn't stay, and I knew he had to go, and it was just, and dealing with so many emotions, with that, and missing him, knowing that I could be like, yo, that I want to pick up the phone and be like, yo, bro, man, look what I'm doing with the podcast, man, or FaceTime him with, um, his nephew, and stuff like that, man. So, um, Zodi Breeze, man, Isaac, man, I'm always thinking of you, my guy, and the family miss you. We all miss you. We love you, man. Rest up. Until next time, my guy. Um, every one of these episodes is always dedicated to you, my guy, and I appreciate it for everything, man. For everything. Much love, man. Oh man, I just started the show and just to say, man, I'm just gonna go for it. Just gonna go for it. Still to come, you guys, man. Kamerie Gibson, dope entrepreneur, producer. Still to come here on the 11:30 podcast, you guys. But we're gonna move away from that, man. I'm just balancing life. Within my relationship, 10 years with my fiance. We got a beautiful baby boy who's 6 months, who's growing so fast, and just it just blows my mind. And just almost every day we look at each other and like, look what we created. Like we known each other since elementary school, and just our story is just uh funny and amazing. So it's amazing, man. I'm blessed. I'm blessed, truly blessed. Truly blessed. But you guys, man, we're gonna move on here on the 11:30 podcast, you guys, man. Yo, it's time for the WTF moment of the week, you guys. Yes, man. WTF moment of the week. And yo, man. Oh man. Speaking of like last year also as well, we had the death of Migos Takeoff, and a couple of weeks ago, actually it was actually a couple of days ago, the big award show, I believe it was the Grammys. I don't know which one it was, but I think it was the Grammys though, and I'm hearing the story coming out with the whole uh Takeoff being mentioning by someone who was supposed to be mentioning. But I think the WTF for me was seeing Offset and Quavo go at it, man. And I think that is WTF all the way, you guys. I mean, come on, man. Like the one your one of your guys' family members and one of the members of the Migos haven't been gone even that long, and now y'all bickering and fighting over stuff. And we got Quavo. Now the story is supposed to be that Quavo didn't allow and that he blocked Offset for coming up there to want to perform. Doing the tribute to take off though. And I'm not gonna get into all the conspiracies and the dark, side of, you know, what happened with the whole Migos and Illuminati and stuff like that, or whatever the case may be. But you know, come on, man. Like that shows you, man. Once um a family member or once someone close to us, especially in the black community, man, or just in general too. It happens, with all different race, man. But we bicker and we start fighting one another, and then things just fall apart and stuff. And I just think that Quavo and Offset, just the whole those guys, man, just the need to like chill. I understand they, entrepreneurs, businessmen, got to keep doing what they got to do, but and I also know that tributes and homages is definitely going to come up throughout the rest of their career, probably more so, or probably the rest of the year, maybe paying tribute to Offset. I mean, Takeoff. So I just think, man, these brothers definitely need to come together, man. And not bicker over and fight, and that's what the music game does, man. That's what the music game does, man. They once you take out the middleman and the other two, now they bickering over what's what. Like, come on, man. It's WTF, man. We need to actually stick together, man. We need to stick together, and we just, as a black race, dog, we just need to do better. We real life need to do better. Uh, I'm not even going to mention what happened in Memphis, some weeks ago, with the 5 black officers, man. Like, are you serious though, man? Like, I was puzzled behind that. Out of all the ones we've seen over the years, it's normally you're seeing the white police officer harassing and usually deadly force on an African American, a black, male or woman or whatever like that. And for it to be 5 black officers beating up another black brother on the ground, bro, that's a part of the WTF moment for real. Like, I mean, I don't even know, man. I don't even know. And I was just talking to my fiance last night, and I was just like, somebody got to be the catalyst, man, for change. But even in this country, we seen guys and girls and try to be the catalyst to come up and be for change and try to use their words for power and stuff like that. But they don't want us united. They don't want us together. They want us far apart. They want us separated and not really find out who we really are and how we all are connected and how we all are gods and how we all got this power within us, though. Nobody really want to talk about those things, though. You feel me? Like, okay, you guys, man. All right, I ain't gonna waste no more time. I thank everyone for tuning in here on the 1130 podcast this week, man. Kamerie Gibson, you guys, entrepreneur, producer, business owner, and podcast host. You guys, is coming up right after this. Don't move. You're listening, you're watching to the 1130 podcast. You dig? Time, man. We're gonna get into our lovely guest, man, that's here this week on the 1130 podcast. Man, let's bring her in. Kamerie Gibson, what's going on with you? How you doing?
Hello. I'm doing well. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Hey, thank you. You sound shy, though. You a little shy.
I'm used to being on the other sid, so it feels kind of good and different to be in this side.
Got you. I got you. I know all about it. I like treating you.
What'd you say?
I like treating you.
Life is treating me pretty good. I just turned 26 last Monday. So yeah, kind of trying to figure out what this new level means for me. Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Well, you seem to be doing some big things, though. I once again appreciate you taking the invite, coming in on the 1130 podcast. Producer, working in, doing film and all types of stuff. Having your own show and talking about some really great topics and conversations that are not really talked about or kind of like shelter in a little bubble, though. But I dig what you're doing, though. But for real, since you're here on the podcast, first time here, tell everyone about yourself. I want you, at the floor, tell the viewers about yourself.
Got you, for sure. Thank you. So I consider myself a Gen Z thought leader. So Gen Z is, I think it's people that are born between 1996 to 2004 or something. I'm not sure the timeline. But I consider myself to be a thought leader because of, like you said earlier, what I'm talking about on social media, on my podcast, on my platforms is not really talked about, especially amongst people my age. Like I said, I just turned 26, so I'm like right there towards the end of my 20s. And I also am an entrepreneur. I have my own production house, Born Guilty Productions, inspired by my little brother, Daniel Gibson. And Born Guilty Productions pretty much highlights Black and Brown stories with the intention of us coming together to really tackle our true enemy. And I'm currently working in the financial services industry, helping people protect their income, long term, short term, through life insurance, financial products as well. I also have my own business through that. And I recently officially made myself an education consultant for LAUSD, which is the Angeles Unified School District out here in LA, which is where I also was educated through. So I have my own Pave Your Own Lane workshop for Black History Month, where I'm going to be teaching students at my old high school how to pretty much be their own boss and create their own lane for themselves. But yeah.
Okay. Hey, look at you got a lot going on, man. I dig it. I really do. Though, but I want to talk about one thing that I when I was reading over your story also too, and just reading over you. You have a production company that specializes in producing critically conscious and also woke of the white imperialist perspective. Though, can you talk
Yes.
about that too? Because how you mentioned you talk about stuff that that's not talked about.
No, yeah. So when I meant absent or absolvent of the white imperialistic perspective, I meant that as Black and Brown people, so I am African American and Mexican American. My mother's Mexican, my father's African American. I was raised African American, so my grandmother and my father raised me. But I am just now exploring the other side, which is the Mexican side, Latino side. Okay, so I say this all to say that as Black and Brown people, we tend to like just live with this white gaze always on our conscious, like, okay, if I do this, what are white people going to think, or what are they going to think of me? Or and it's like when I went through college, I felt the pressure of that so heavily to the point where I felt like I couldn't focus on my studies, and I was like, you know what, either it's them or it's me. And I came down to where I'm like, no, it's going to always be me. It's going to always be me, as far as I'm okay. Nothing's wrong with me. Like, I know I'm good. I know I'm cool. I know I'm fly. I know I'm smart. I'm intelligent. I'm an innovator. So something's got to give. And then when I started to like go more into like my history, I discovered, Dr. Frances Cress Wilson, who's a famous psychiatrist. I think during the 70s or 60s. I can't remember the timeline. Anyways, she talks about how the melanin gene is superior than the European gene, which I would love to link more information to that, just to fact check people. I know people are gonna have some problems with that information, but just coming across that information that just really empowered me to just think differently about my place here in the world as a Black and a brown woman. And I just came to that realization that no, I gotta let my Black and my brown people know that we're actually gods here on earth, and it's actually fear that caused people to tell these like really monstrous lies out into the world to confuse us. So what I tell people now today is that if you take anything white people or what the world says, just reverse it, and then you'll get the truth. Because all they've been putting out is lies about us when it ain't true.
And I like how I like where you're coming from, and I like what you're doing, and also because with the media and also and what the white people did tell us, it's all lies, and you gotta reverse it and just try to do your own thing, and as you just being your own boss and stuff like that. And
Mhm.
also, can you also speak on just some of the things that being a Gen you said Gen Z leader, how did that necessarily come about and stuff.
I would say for a long time, I felt kind of rejected by my own peers, especially
Mm,
growing up in the hood. I'm from South Central Los Angeles. And I feel like during that time, during the 2000s, um, just being a certain way wasn't really popular or accepted like it is now. I feel like now it's like the revenge of the nerds. All the nerds is teaching people how to get money and make stuff happen, which I consider myself to be one of those people. Like, I was always on my computer at a young age. I was always very to myself. I was always, just interested in stuff that my peers just weren't. And I kind of felt like just weird because of it. So it wasn't until like maybe last year when I was 25 and I was like, you know what? People keep telling me now that I'm older that I have this aura about me, or that I'm a good listener, or I made them feel better about themselves. And I was like, you know what? Maybe this weird stuff that I thought was weird is actually my gift to the world. And so I took it as I said Gen Z because it's almost like although they couldn't see it then, like I was put here for them as well. So just being that voice of reason for this generation, the same way maybe an MLK was for the '60s or Coretta Scott during that time period. You need people to kind of stand out and do and kind of get persecuted because those people weren't celebrated, especially in those times. But that's what makes them special too. So yeah, that's where the Gen Z thought leader came from.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. I dig it. I dig it. In your thought provoking content that you produced it though. You produced a film called Drafted,
Drafted.
which is very interesting. That when I was reading about it.
Mhm.
Can you talk on that a little bit, and then we're gonna go back to what you was also talking about just a few moments ago.
Yes, for sure. So drafted. Ooh, that was like a really fun time in Burbank, California, which is where we shot that short film at. So drafted is pretty much a story. It was written by Julian Hardy in 2021, the summer of 2021. And it's a story about three sisters who receive a letter in the mail. And this letter is saying to them that one of them will have to be selected to be drafted into the war because there has been a shortage of men to fight in the World War Three. I believe it was World War Three. So upon receiving the letter, the sisters are like, okay, well, who really needs to be here? Who's more valuable, like at home versus away? So upon making this decision, the girls actually get into a physical fight. And at the end of the film, though, they end up pretty much acknowledging what each sister contributes. Excuse me. They end up acknowledging what each sister contributes to the family, and then they make a decision to just love each other. There's no decision over who gets to go to the war. They just decide to just love on each other as opposed to letting this decision tear them apart from each other. So yeah, it was a really sweet film. And it just had me thinking about the future too, especially because the war in the film was between China, Russia, and the U.S. So it's pretty current. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Is it out? Is it out right now, or you guys still working on it?
Oh, it's out right now. It was just a little short film. It was a few minutes long, just to kind of put that message out there
Okay.
about the
Wait,
future.
okay? When can I go check it out at?
Oh, I'm so sorry. You can check it out at HBCU in LA. Their YouTube channel is HBCU in LA or ECOP, EICOP, drafted short film. Yes.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. And you're HBC, graduate from HBCU, right?
Yes, sir.
That's what's up. That's what's up. That's dope. That's dope. But one thing you were just talking about, and just how the narrative of the white narrative always tries to overpower the minority, especially as blacks and
Hmm.
Mexicans and stuff like that. Um, More so kind of like a two-part question in a way, like what's your advice in a way for young entrepreneurs that's kind of trying to like go after their dream, because kind of like young entrepreneurs sometimes get a little bad rap, Gen Z. I heard about the Gen Z leaders also, who just who don't really need to kind of like, no, not more so don't need to like go to work, but just being an entrepreneur and just doing everything by themselves in a way, but not necessarily by themselves, but I hope you get what I'm saying, though. But yeah,
No.
what type of advice do you have for young entrepreneurs who starting out and just want to just do something on their own and create something for themselves and for their community? Because like I said, the narrative is just supposed to you're supposed to get up, supposed to go to work and do this and that and just pay a white man, pay this and all that, instead of just being an entrepreneur, as yourself. Because I started all of this, 3 years ago, and I'm trying to keep it going on, and you know, trying to find a job ain't the best thing. But what works for other people is work for other people. But yeah,
Absolutely.
what's your best piece of advice for
Yeah.
young entrepreneurs?
For sure. And congrats to you for maintaining this show for 3 years. You said that's
Thank
really
you.
admirable. That's really good. That's
Appreciate it.
consistency. I would tell entrepreneurs consistency is big. And I think about it today, like if I don't get up and do something, sometimes like it's not gonna get done. because I don't have somebody over me telling me to do it. And it's my dream, you know? So I think consistency is important. Your dream deserves that you be consistent in order to achieve it. And before I forget, for young entrepreneurs, for anybody, a book I would recommend because my mentor recommended it to me is Robert Kiyosaki's Cash Flow Quadrant. I know Robert Kiyosaki is also known for his Rich Dad Poor Dad book when it comes to finances, but Cash Flow Quadrant really helped me in terms of developing my mind as an entrepreneur, an investor, business owner from an employee. Um, I know for a long time growing up, I always felt like it was something wrong with me again because I had a hard time following instruction to a T. I always wanted to put my own little mix or twist onto it. And my dad, who is a strong, self-employed employee type thinking person, we kind of wrestled with that a lot. He'd always tell me, why can't you just follow the system, just do right? Because that was something he excelled in. And I always was like, dang, why can't I? Even through college, I didn't get straight A's. I just struggled with that same system. I wanted to kind of, make it my own little, because I understood, I guess I would say I recognized some type of power within me that nobody else could give me, that I knew I already had. So I would say for young entrepreneurs, if you feel that same way, listen to that voice. It doesn't go anywhere. And when I tried to force myself to work a 9 to 5, and I literally felt so miserable, I would be crying all the time. Like, I literally told myself I'd rather be literally living in a tent, and I actually did live in my car for a while because I was so committed to that freedom. And yeah, I just think that you really should be working on your self development. While you're working on your business, because it's going to really test that self character when things don't pan out the way you expected them to. So yeah, I would say that would be some advice I give to young entrepreneurs.
Okay, cool. I dig that. I definitely dig that. But far as what's your goal? Behind creating this great content. Obviously, getting a narrative out there and a certain perspective that may not be shown in the media, though. But yeah, what's your big uh goal
My
that you would
overall
like to
goal,
yeah.
I would say my overall goal is to repopulate the world, the internet, with positive, accurate stories and images of Black and Brown Indigenous people to kind of to eliminate the other ones that have been out there. I want to reprogram people's minds essentially from the content that I produce through my company. And I know, especially with media, that is one of the most strongest, powerful tools to do that. Um,
Okay.
yeah. Mhm.
When you say reprogram people's minds, what do you mean about that? Because some listeners may not, understand
Oh,
or may not
absolutely.
be woke.
Absolutely, absolutely. So when I say reprogram people's minds, I mean reprogramming their minds to see that they actually are the programmer of their own minds, and that they have control over their own lives, their own destinies, and that they actually have potential to create their own universe because they are gods. I think a lot of people let life just happen to them. They feel like, their life is a certain way because of their boss, their parents, and just where they're born. And I think that when we really think about it, it's really a miracle for us all to be here at the same time, living, breathing, in these human bodies with the mind. And I think that the longer you go without realizing your power as a human with the mind and power like that, then you're wasting your time. So I want people to just wake up and recognize who they already are, basically.
Yeah, I dig it. Look at it's 2023, and it's a lot of things that's happening that a lot of people just choose not to either, sort of wake up or just see what actually is going on, and it's literally right in front of your face, though. And how we all been programmed, like I was just saying, to go to sleep at a certain time, wake up at a certain time, do this
Mhm.
at a certain time, and it's like, when you do all of these things, when do you have time for either yourself or for your family or etc., stuff like that, so or at least you're supposed to work at a job for 20, 30 years and wait around for a pandemic to come just for
Yep.
everything to just let go. So
Yep.
I definitely agree, with you on that, though. Another big topic that's going around, that a big situation that happened not too long ago with the I can't his name is Tyrone Nicholas. Yes, Tyrone Nicholas. And I wanted to, get your thoughts on it because I felt like in a way when the community and the black community just trying to make two steps forward, it seems though we take two steps back. And
Mhm.
in this situation is like over a couple of years, it just to me I felt sad about it because it was like our own people was beating up or beating this guy lifeless on the ground, and it just make it don't make it no better. Obviously, we seen in 2020, with the George Floyd situation, among others, though. But you know, what was your thoughts on this?
Yeah. Okay. So because I'm very sensitive and I'm an empath, I take on a lot of stuff on emotionally. I'm very sensitive. I couldn't fully delve into the story to see all the details, but from the little that I have heard, it was about 4 or 5 black men that beat another black man who they pulled over, I believe, to death. So I did see images of, I believe Tyree Nichols is his name. I hope that's how you pronounce his name. May he rest in peace. I I didn't really know what to think, and I still won't make any final judgments. But I will say that aside aside from race or whatever you want to look at it as, it's still um I feel like we're missing the humanity in everything. We're not
Mm,
seeing each other as humans. We're not seeing each other's lives as beneficial to the overall big picture. I think for them to do what they did, I can't think of any other scenarios where you see that happening unless it's having to do with something,
yeah,
like prison like or like barbaric or maybe legal. Like why would you do that? Like I don't, because if it was somebody white, then maybe we could easily shift it to okay, that was possibly somebody being prejudiced to another, person who didn't look like them. But with this, I don't know if it's just there's just no regard for human life there. And at that point, we really have to look further into like our people's desensitization to um to the death or loss of life within our own people. I don't think there was any like forward thinking in that regard. I don't think there was any deep thought when it came to that scenario.
yeah. Okay. I dig that. I dig it. Yeah. Yeah. It's no regard in my opinion, like how you said, of human life, just regardless of of race. It's just I think it's just real sad to see that, and it just repeatedly happen over and over again. Especially
Yeah.
like you said, a couple of years ago, it was just we get all of these moments and parades and marches and stuff like that when this is anything worth it in my opinion, and I understand that we go out here and we supposed to protest and but peacefully and stuff like that, but at the same time it just continually happened over and over and over again. But at this point, when it was just I think 4 or 5 black men, was just it was just crazy. I thought I'd just get your opinion
Yeah.
on that right there.
Oh yeah.
But with all the content that you're creating and everything, what keeps you motivated and inspired?
What keeps me motivated, I would say, is my own story. I feel like I was very self aware as a young woman, very self aware of myself, my impact on other people sometimes, and just my environment. Like I said, I did grow up in South Central LA, so I'm in the inner city. It's a lot of stuff going on. It's always something to do. And around 14, I started to like get really involved outside. Nothing crazy, no gang banging or nothing wild with boys or nothing. Just I was just outside a lot, just hanging out, just going to different like little young teen clubs, parties, meeting a lot of people, young kids from like Watts, Compton, all over South Central. And I just feel like during that time, it really just exposed me to a lot of stuff. A lot of the people I was hanging out with the time, by the time I was 16, a lot of them were like losing their lives, I believe around 2012. So it really just had me thinking about things differently. I lost one of my first partners to gun violence when I was in college. I lost my grandmother, who I say raised me. my brother, just being in and out of the system, juvie, prison, jail. I just had a lot of perspective from those experiences, I would say. And like I said earlier, I'm very sensitive. And I know that my purpose here was to seek justice for my people. And I think I always felt that like internal obligation because I knew I was strong and I can endure so much because of what I've been through and still be here and still persevere. So, yeah, I would say a lot of those experiences that happened while growing up really have been my motivators.
Okay. How do you deal with the self, confidence, growing up? You said you was more so, and you doing your own thing.
With the self confidence, how did I grow up to make like get the self confidence now? Um, I would say my father's nickname was Solj, like short for soldier. So he was very
Okay.
tough. Yeah, very tough. My dad, very present father too, very hands on. He just was drilling me every time. He was training me every time. Our talks, our lectures. He was like, "You're not gonna be this, woman that gets ran over by anybody, and for sure not a man, not a woman, nobody. And I want you to know who you are." I think I just had a really like great father help me with my confidence. Um, yeah, I would say, yeah, he made me that strong woman.
Okay. Cool. I got you. I appreciate it. All the honest answers that you got.
Yeah.
But what's before we move on to the hot seat? What's one thing that you would like for everyone to actually, sort of wake up and understand what's really going on, or just see what's really around them and stuff?
I really want people to recognize or realize that nobody in the physical human form is here to save you. Not no leader, not nobody's here to save you. People are only here to bless you and guide you to where you need to go. Not where they need to go, but for where you need to go. I think when we even cling to like romantic partners, relationships, our parents or friendships, sometimes we poison ourselves with this belief that they can save us from whatever demons we might be running from or whatever pitfalls we're trying to avoid and escape. It's like, no, God puts people around you to make you strong, to help you get to your destination. Now, whether you choose to focus or not, that's going to be on you, But at the end of the day, your mission, everything will be complete eventually. So, yeah, death is always gone, I don't know. Death is like always at the top of my mind. And I think people should think about that too. Death more often. Like we tend to act like it's just whatever, but no, you're not here forever. So get to business.
Yeah, you're right. And a lot of people don't tend to think about that because it's real scary, it's unknown, and
Mhm.
a lot of people don't. Yeah, and a lot of people just I want to say bad come from it because there's always sort of a reason, but with
Yeah.
losing a loved one and stuff like that, people just you know is tend to things go bad and stuff like that. More so
Yeah.
what I'm saying. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, I dig it. I appreciate you. But we gonna move on, you guys, here on the 11:30 podcast. You guys, man, it's time for the 11:30 podcast. A hot seat, you guys. All right, Camry, it's time for the hot seat. I got 6 questions for you, and we gonna roll with it. You ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, all right. If you had a warning label on you, what would it say?
Ooh, dang. Ooh, I don't want to expose myself. I would say uh, uh brave.
Brave.
But
That's your
man, it's not a
honest
good.
answer.
No, let me see. I would say wild.
Wow.
I can't say nothing else. Yeah. I'm gonna go wild, yeah.
Okay. Wow. All right. I dig it. Wow. That's you sure that's your final answer though. Last one.
No, okay, hold up. I might have a better one. Hold up. I might have a better one. I would say I would say sensitive. Yeah, like I'm very sensitive, so be careful. I act tough, but I
Okay.
might just cry. Yeah.
Okay. I dig it. You wild, 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 wild Camry though. Okay. All right. What would you like? What would you like? Who would you like to work with in the entertainment field?
Who would I like to work with in the entertainment field? I would say Earn Your Leisure. I really like Earn Your Leisure, the platform, and 19 Keys. They're kind of like together in a sense. Earn Your Leisure is like a finance show. They teach people finance. It was founded by Rashad and Troy. And then 19 Keys is a thought leader. He talks about different high level conversation topics for Black people.
Okay. Okay. Cool. 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 I like that answer. A movie is coming out about your life. What actor would best fit to play you?
Movies coming out about my life. What actor would best play me? Huh. Ooh. I would say I like, dang. I would say freak. Tisha Campbell.
Tisha
Tisha
Campbell.
Campbell. Gina from Martin. I think she was on her stuff during the 90s.
Okay.
Yeah. I like her.
Okay. Cool.
Hmm.
Cool. Cool. That's what's up. All right. What's the best piece of advice? I kind of like asked you this earlier though. We're gonna move on from that one though. What do you see yourself at a year from now?
8 years?
A year, a
Oh, a
year
year?
from now. Yeah.
A year from now, I see myself living in Atlanta, um, doing speaking engagements all over, doing more podcasts, guests, my own podcast. I would say, um, yeah, I'm driving a nicer car. My dream car is a Jeep. But yeah, I would say
Okay.
just yeah, I'm further along on my platform than I am currently. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. 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 Before we move to the last question, tell everyone about your podcast, the
Oh,
Kamerie
okay.
Gibson Show.
Okay, for sure. The Kamerie Gibson Show is a podcast that I host weekly, where I pretty much interview different people that I believe have profound stories to share with the world. And the purpose of each episode is to help people transform their pain into power, especially if they related to the story that one of my guests shared. I really want my podcast to be that medicine that people can come and pour from when they want someone to just listen to and just relate to. But yeah, and it's also been very therapeutic for me as well, just to be able to let people share their pain and how they overcame it. And at the same time, I learn as well for myself how to get through my own situations. Yes.
Okay. I got you. I got you. What day new episodes come out?
Okay, so on Patreon, I release my episodes out on Wednesdays, and then every Sunday I release the full episode. I also have bonus episodes on my Patreon. I'm also on Apple Podcast. I release new episode every Sunday on there as well. But yeah, it's at the Kamerie
Okay.
Gibson Show.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. Everyone, man, who's listening and watching, the links will definitely be down below. I did what you're doing, and especially, having guests on, telling their
Yes,
story, like here on the 11:30 podcast.
yes, sir.
Because my that's kind of like where I started out, in a way, just telling my story and what I, sort of overcame in just my life, having a disability, being in a wheelchair, stuff like that. But
Mm,
it's not all about me; it's about my guests. So I always highlight my guests and stuff like that, and I sit back and do the thing. A lot of people just don't. Oh, I didn't know you was in a wheelchair. Okay, so it's all cool, Joe.
yeah,
I just love the real conversations and connection that be going on though.
thank
If you were in a no problem, if you were in a high school chase, what song would you be playing on the radio?
If I was in a high speed chase.
Excuse me, I said high speed chase. I said that so
Ooh,
wrong.
no, you fine.
Yes, a high speed chase.
To be honest, this is not good. I would say, to be honest, I would say the Isley Brothers. The song goes like, "Are you really sure?" Something, something. What is that song? It ain't Voyage to Atlantis, but it'd be the Isley Brothers. I love the Isley Brothers when I'm on the freeway. Yeah, playing
Okay,
oldies.
okay,
Mm,
okay. Some oldies on the freeway. So you in a high speed chase. You playing some oldies
sounds
though.
good. I mean, I got to keep
Okay.
my nerves calm. I'm doing a lot.
Okay.
Um,
All
yeah.
right. All right. I got you. I got you. Not the answer that I expected though, but I got you though. Like I'm going to jail anyway. I'm just gonna crank some Odie with goodies though.
Cool. Maybe smoke a little something. Just
Hey,
chill.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you. Cameron, once again, I appreciate you coming through
Yes.
here on the 11:30 podcast. It was real great talking to you, chatting with you, and just hearing your story and everything. But before you go, any questions? Anything you like to say? Any shout-
Yeah, I wanted to know. What does the 11:30 mean?
My birthday is November 30th.
November 30th. Is that a Scorpio or Sagittarius?
Sagittarius.
Ooh, fire sign. Are you into astrology?
Not necessarily though, but I'm glad you said that because I think that's a topic that I think I'm gonna
That
talk about
is. You
on
should.
my relationship podcast
Mm.
because I I hear a lot of things about other Sagittarius or just Sagittarius in general or just different signs and stuff like that, and some of them I can be like, okay, I can see that, and maybe it's just probably me that I'm just like, nah, I don't, but hey, I'm not really big in it. You are.
No, I think that they're put here for a reason to help us kind of guide and understand each other better and ourselves better. Nicki Minaj and I think Jay-Z is a Sagittarius, but that's pretty cool. Also, I wanted to
Okay.
ask you the last question. Um, I didn't know you were in a wheelchair. How long have you been experiencing that, being in a wheelchair?
You broke up a little bit. Can you say that one more time?
Oh yeah, I said I did not know that you were in a wheelchair. How long have you been in a wheelchair?
I've been in a wheelchair since I was about like 14, maybe 14, 13. I was walking, and I had disability. My legs had got weak as I got older as a teenager, and I kept falling, sort of hurting myself in a way, and I just been in a wheelchair. I had a wheelchair in elementary school, but I would just use it more so in school, to try to not like fall because I used to fall and hurt myself like a lot. So I just been in a wheelchair, and ever since then.
Wow, that's amazing. That is a testimony people definitely need to hear, especially since we're here talking about other things now. Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you. I definitely want to bring you over to my platform too to share that story. It's really good.
Okay, cool. We could
Yeah.
definitely do that. We could definitely do that. Once again, everyone, appreciate everyone tuning in. And the links once again, the links will be down below for the Kamerie Gibson show. You got any new projects coming out? You want to tell everyone about anything one last time?
Not any new projects coming out yet. But you can follow the Born Guilty Productions platforms on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Born Guilty Productions. Aside from that, my life insurance business, financial services business, Legacy Life Insurance Solutions, we're there to teach people about how to manage their money, how to outplace inflation, and how to save for the future. Like I said, Legacy Life Insurance Solutions on Instagram. Yeah, we're here to help.
Okay. Yeah, I gotta check out that because inflation is something else though. People paying
Man,
$40 for some eggs or something. Like, come on.
exactly. It's real. Especially our people. We need this, man. Every time somebody dies in the hood, we get poorer and poorer when we ain't got nothing in place. So something to think about.
Mm-mm. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's another podcast episode for you guys for real. Can't listen. You're always welcome to come back here on the 11:30 podcast. And we'd love to come on your show and your platform as well. But once again, thank you for coming on this week here on the 11:30 podcast.
Thank you.
Start this, or if the person you with doesn't get you going. And I think to hear or to kind of like get this light shed on as older men get the more that men start to understand that sex isn't everything, and women are kind of on the opposite end of that. Like we're not grown up to idolize sex, but we're grown up knowing that sex is powerful because the world teaches us that. Our moms let us know, like, you basically if you want, if you got a vagina and you look good. So it's kind of weird to hear that we're on opposite ends, because the older you get, women are already at that point where sex is nice, especially if you know what you're doing. Because a lot of men out here thinking they got it, and over here just fucking slapping goddamn hips, and that's about it. If you get older,
Damn, not hips.
if you
The pelvic
Not
thrust.
hips.
Pelvic
No
thrust.
no,
pelvis. No, it's all hip, no
so I
pelvis.
think it just
No,
depends.
man be
I don't
twerking too.
think
How it is.
too much because the chemistry's off, or if you've just been fucking the fuck your whole life, and now you get to a point where you're like, oh, it should be more than this, but you didn't build up anything in between. Like you just got to a point and realized it. It's kind of, then it's like, oh shit, there's too much sex because you've never really like. You can go from sex to making love to fucking to like. There's so many fucking levels.
Yes.
Talk about that shit right there.
Like if you
Big
get to the point
facts.
where it's too much and it don't do nothing to you, then I think you need to take a step back and like reevaluate what sex means to you. But again, I'm finding out people that sex don't mean shit. So that's like a whole revelation that I'm understanding. Like some people really don't even need that shit. Like you could touch their hand and they be like, it's too much. Like elbow me.
Oh yeah. Definitely,
So-
definitely.
Yeah.
It just depends. Sexual compatibility is a real thing, and I don't think we actually really take time to understand our own sex drive and where we actually stand and how important sex is. Because we get in relationships and somebody really like fucking, you really like fucking. Somebody don't like fucking, now you don't like fucking, and now you don't know why you miserable.
Now you stuck. Now you fuck.
Yo, Kamerie Gibson, thank you for coming through here on the 1130 podcast show. It was definitely dope having you on. Just vibing with you, for real. Definitely vibing with you, Gen Z leader. I think that was the first having, a Gen Z leader here on the 1130 podcast, though. We're very smart and intelligent. Thank you once again for coming through here on the podcast. The links will be down below for the Kamerie Gibson show. If you want to go on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts, to check her show out, and also check out some of the amazing short film content that she has produced and have created, and that's out there, man. For real, definitely get at it. Like I said, the links will be down below, man. What a show! What a show! I'm about to head on out of here, but before I go, you guys don't forget to follow the 1130 podcast on all social media platforms. Don't forget to follow the 1130 podcast on Twitter at the 1130 podcast, like the 1130 podcast on Facebook. And if you haven't done so this entire episode, I don't know what you're waiting for, man. For real, definitely hit that subscribe button down below, man. Yes, hit it, smash it, like it, even comment it, share it. Tell me what you think about the show, man, and who would you like to see a guest on a future episode of the podcast, and future topics or whatnot. For real, new episode of Beyond 1130 is definitely coming soon. You guys definitely sit tight. And also, you guys, man, it is Wednesday. Yes. So you know what that means, man. Yo, a live episode of Commission Talks. Not on Buzzing with Marlo this week. Not on Eric the Joker of the Wrestling Asylum, but right here on the 1130 podcast, you guys. Yes, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is going down live, man. Commission Talks, along with Eric the Joker, host of the Wrestling Asylum, and Warren Marlo, host of Buzzing with Marlo, man. We're going to be chatting all trending topics in the world of professional wrestling, a bit of Elimination Chamber coming out of NXT Vengeance Day, everything, man. The whole Bloodline saga, Sami Zayn, Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, Cody Rhodes winning the Rumble, all that and more, man. So it's going down live episode tonight, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You don't want to miss it. The audio version will be available the next day, man. Woo! This was a great one. Once again, Kamerie Gibson, thank you for coming through on the 1130 podcast show. And thank everyone for tuning in and supporting the podcast show, man. For real. Yo, if you want to get some dope merch, the link is in the bio. Support the 1130 podcast the long way, man. For real. Yo, I'm heading on out of here, man. Hey, yo, stay blessed, stay safe, give all the glory to God, man. Won't he do it, you guys? It's your man, Dre, a.k.a. Dre on Wheels, and I'm out.